So this is how a desktop computer from 1998 looks like. It's called the Dell Optiplex GX1, and fun fact, this was actually the first computer I ever used. One thing I can say for sure is that the specs of this thing is very interesting. Here's what I mean. So starting with the CPU, this desktop uses the Intel Pentium 2 processor. So just to get an idea of how far back this Intel processor is, currently we are in the 14th generation of the Intel Core i series, which are the Core i5, the Core i3, the Core i7, and the Core i9. But before that 14 years of the Intel Core series, we had the Dual Core series. And with the Dual Core series, we had the Intel Core 2 Duo, we had the Intel Celeron, and we also had the Intel Pentium Dual Core. And before the Dual Core series, that is where we had the Pentium series, where the highest was the Pentium 4, followed by the Pentium 3, and this one, the Pentium 2. So that is how far back this guy is. So moving on to the next part, which is the RAM. This computer, to be specific, came with 2 sticks of 128 megabytes of RAM, not gigabytes, so megabytes, making it a whopping 256 megabytes of RAM in total. And it also had an extra RAM slot apart from the 2 RAM slots that were already populated. So just in case you feel a little bit fancy and you want to bump up the specs by adding an extra 128 megabytes of RAM, you can go ahead and do that, making the total to be a whopping 384 megabytes of RAM. And as you can see, the look of this RAM is a little bit different from the conventional ones we all know. This one has 2 indents instead of the 1 indent we have on our normal DDR RAM. That's because this is actually not a DDR RAM, this is an SDR RAM. And it was after the SDR RAM type before we went into the DDR, then the DDR2, DDR3, DDR4, and lastly where we are at now, the DDR5. So moving on to the next part, which is the storage. This computer came with a huge 9 gigabyte IDE hard disk drive. And unlike our newer hard disk drives like this one that uses a SATA connection, this one on the other hand uses an IDE connection, which requires a cable like this one. And for the operating system, this computer came installed with one of the best and goated operating system ever, Windows XP. And lastly, to power this entire beast, we had a 152 watt power supply. Anyway, let me know the first computer you ever used and also the specs, and you can drop down in the comment section. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.